Everybody, welcome back to the Insiders Lounge. Today we have another special guest, Patrice. Patrice, thanks for coming on, and feel free to give an introduction.
Yeah, thanks, Chad. Appreciate everyone around the game that's trying to bring additional exposure to the game, like yourself, through different platforms. This will only help grow the game. I'm Patrice Gheisar, the current head coach of Halifax Wanderers, where we just finished off our first season, and really was proud of the group and excited for the next season to come.
Brilliant. And let's get things started. Not a lot of people know about your playing days. So let's start with your playing career. From growing up as a little boy in Canada all the way to
Sure.
where you are now.
Yeah, just like everyone, you want to have a professional career. I started just like everyone at a young age, played at different clubs, Woodbridge, Glen Shields, and towards the end, I would say North York Hearts was the three clubs between. And then from there, through different travels around the world, I was lucky at the end to go to a very prestigious tournament in China to try to get contracts for players. Went to Spain for about 8-9 months. At around 18, I had my first ACL, recovered, went to Ryerson for a year, and then ended up transferring to York University, where I played for 3 more seasons. And after that, I finished off my 5th year at Seneca College. I played at all those different institutions. This is just when the CPSL had come to surface. So I had a very brief stint with North York Astros, and then I played for 2 years with York Region Shooters. This was actually a very, very good league with the Toronto Croatia, Serbian White Eagles, and many good teams. And the league had started. And this is before all the accusations of fixing games came forward. And then finished that off. One more knee surgery at 25, one more ACL at 29. And that was it. And meanwhile, a lot of different MCLs. So a total of 6 knee surgeries. I think I finished off my last days playing for North York Hearts after I left the York Region Shooters, and then got into coaching, and then ended up bouncing around in some of the institutions that I played at, like Seneca, Ryerson, and York. Funny.
Yeah, so you actually led into the next question there. So I believe it was 2005. You started then coaching with North York Hearts. Is that correct?
Yeah, for sure. Yeah, I mean, I stayed. I started probably earlier as I was still playing, but not really full time into coaching like that. So that's when I was like, I can't play anymore. My knees are shot.
Right.
You want to be able to walk when you get older. So started to get into coaching, and then North York Hearts, which was a club that I've been a part of for many years. Even if I stopped, I always came back because I adored that club and the players they had. Stopped having a competitive program above 14 years old. And that's when I kind of made a transition to go to Vaughan, Missouri, along with one of our technical directors, who was Connor Misako.
And what first got you into coaching? Like while you were playing, you kind of just decided on the side, I'm going to start getting my kind of coaching side started up?
Yeah, something like that. To be honest, like I just wanted to stay near the game. Like I went through a really bad stretch between 26 to 29 with multiple knee injuries, and I wanted to stay close to it. And I started as a filler, where a guy couldn't go coach because they were also playing. I would just go coach the games. Didn't really run a lot of sessions, and I never in my wildest dreams did I think that I would stick it out. I enjoyed coaching, but I wouldn't say I really loved it. I just did it to stay connected to the game so I could come back to play. But after finding out, your only way of staying in the game is through coaching, then my mindset changed. And then when you see the impact you could make on a lot of lives and players' minds, then sort of my view changed completely with coaching.
And then you spent most of your time with Vaughan. What was that kind of build up like? Like what age group did you start at? And then you obviously led on to coach the League One team. But where did you start, and what was the journey like with
I think
coaching with
literally
Vaughan?
the moment we arrived, I took on an OYSL team that had been underachieving It was their 1991 born age group. This is right on arrival. And then immediately we kind of amalgamated two teams and attracted a new player, and that ended up being a superb team. I think almost every player went on an NCAA scholarship, and then every player other than that, and 7 others ended up getting pro experiences or opportunities after it. It was fantastic, fantastic. And then that brought a lot of noise to Vaughan because it hadn't had a lot of success at the older age groups. So that led me to the 92 team that had just won their division and came up to OYSL. We did great. And we immediately won Ontario Cup our first year and went to nationals at Newfoundland and lost in the semis and still got a medal. And then really things started spinning fast for Vaughan and began a name. Meanwhile, because I was trying to also manage things, I was helping out at SC Toronto. So for the SC Toronto, I did the 93-45 reserve and the first team. So I had a stint where I was at Vaughan and at SC Toronto. And at SC Toronto, I was coaching a team that was also playing in that old CPSL league that I played at. The team used to be called Toronto Supra, and it's been in that league forever. But we changed it to SC Toronto. We played out of Lamport, and we had some really good players. I think that's where Jonathan Osorio kind of got his break to go to TFC. So that was kind of that. And after that, I ended up just going back to Vaughan full time. And we did partner up with Power Academy, and Power was our reserve team, and we worked together through there as well. But I would say when I got to the 96 age group, there was enough to do at Vaughan. All of our kids had come up. We had an exceptional 96, 7, 8, 9, 2000 group. So it was a lot of work to be done there. So, and SC Toronto was and CPL was going through a lot of issues, CPSL, with the accusations of betting and stuff on game.
All right, so you mentioned Osorio and kind of your impact on many players throughout the years. Some of the top players, like you mentioned, Osorio, Johnston, Miller, St. Clair. What was that like to see them now on the World Cup team, on the national team, playing on the biggest stages when they started either at Vaughan or some of your other teams while you were first coaching?
Yeah, I mean, look, I think that we all have a part to play in success, and you could say the same literally about a person who ends up writing a Nobel Peace Prize winner. That is their university professor the most important, or was it their grade school or middle school? So I think that everybody played a part in these guys' journey. I'm happy to have been a part of it. I think for some it was bigger than others. Kamal was probably the longest stretch, and then, it was quite a bit with Alistair Dane, and also, Mark Anthony Kay was with us or at SC Toronto. So you're happy to be a part of it, but most importantly, I'm glad to have seen for them to have an opportunity, because everything that lived 10 years before it said that if you're not part of an MLS academy, you're not going to get a breakthrough. Everything you had seen that said if you don't play in top flight in Europe or have a chance or have that kind of ambition, you won't break through. So to see these guys take the path that we have designed through Vaughan with NCAA and go to MLS and see what happens next, excluding also, was amazing to see. So I was very happy not only to see that, but also see the success of the Canadian men's soccer teams as well, their success.
And then as you kind of transition into your time now at Wanderers, you obviously played the Wanderers before while you were still coaching with Vaughan. What was it like being now on both sides of that game? You once played them as an opponent in the Canadian Championship, and now you're coaching with them.
Yeah, I mean, I remember when we came down here, we had actually a really good team. That was a team with Ryan Raposo, Dallin Harris, Massimo Farron, AJ Gray, Max Kowal, Duran Lee. I think that team had ended up having 10 guys play pro. So we had a strong League One team that ended up coming down. They came down to us and we lost 3-2, and we came here on 1-1-0. I remember walking into the stadium and seeing the atmosphere was something that left an impression, lifelong impression on me. It was fantastic. And then our first game at home against Vancouver, or even before that, walking the stadium was a very nostalgic moment to see it sort of not really be a full circle, but in my eyes, a full circle. Being a villain to a good guy 3 years later. And, sometimes those kind of journeys take many, many years and sometimes very little, right? I can speak for Alistair. Alistair played at Wanderers ground in 2019 and it's 2023 and he's playing in Champions League. So life moves fast in football, where some days seem long, years are short.
That's good. That's a good quote. We asked about your favorite quote near the end, so we might have to
Okay.
stick that in the list. But yeah, so you finished your first year as the head coach of the Wanderers. You set records for most wins, points, and goals scored, and there's obviously quite a few more. What were the key factors behind that, and being your first year in the CPL and kind of changing the ways a whole club runs?
I think first of all, there was a lot of great work done already here. Steve had done tremendous community foundation building. And Stephen Hart was a top coach, top man, and had done a lot of work along with Matt and Derek. So I think what we needed to do was just to spice it up for better terms, right? So we felt like the team needed to freshen up, hence 18 new players. But anytime you do that, you're really worried that are you doing too much? But sometimes you just got to pull the band-aid off. The best thing is the overall change, and that's what we did. We kept some key guys, and then we looked at players and evaluated how they would fit into our system. We wanted to have a clear identity, so we wanted to play a lot of football, and as I always say, knock ball, and really be clear about what it is we're trying to do. We found some really special players. Recruiting was top for me. Worked extremely hard the day that I got the job on December 1st, literally starting that evening, looking for players and finding the right pieces. And you don't need 20 players. You just need a couple of special pieces and a lot of supporting cast and strong culture. And then when the season started, we wanted to have a strong culture. We did a preseason in Florida. The team really became a family. Our big guy stepped up. And, I would say the key is we stuck to our identity. We had a less than ideal start without a win for the first 9 games. But we stuck to our principles and we had a hell of a June. And then July was great. August was bumpy. September was good. And we led into October to do what we could. So I think if I had to give you and this is a very long answer to your question, is stuck to our principles, never stop believing, never too high, never too low. And, we just had a clear identity and we knew it would work. So those are, I would say, the key factors to the success we ended up having.
And then you were obviously nominated as one of the CPL Coaches of the Year. What was that recognition like for you?
Oh, it was amazing. I mean, the recognition was fantastic at the moment. I was honored. And I think for me, the recognition is really about the team because you don't generally get nominated for the Coach of the Year if you come in at 8th place. So it really goes to show that that's probably as much as a team award as you can have. So I was really honored by that, and obviously to be nominated along with Bobby, who I've coached against for 15 years, and Tommy, that I coached against them at Nationals at the 92 age group like 14 years ago, was also very a beautiful moment. And then when I got to the gala, you're in this room with some of the top broadcasters, some of the top sports writers, and some of the top players. That was really the peak of the moment to enjoy the experience. And some influential people that are really pushing this league and brought this league to where it is now. You're in a room of a lot of great people. So that was one of the best moments.
And then obviously I saw you at the FTF event last week. You were playing with your boy. You got a wife. You got another kid as well. What is the balance like between coaching and being a family man and being a father? Like I'm sure that's difficult.
Yeah, it's extremely difficult. Obviously, my family still live in Toronto. I've gone back and forth. I think you really need to have a partner that agrees about the journey you're going to have. You really, really got to do your best of separating the sport from your home. But it's difficult. It's very difficult. My son has been to every home game. he comes to the practices while they're here, and all the players know him and vice versa. So it is very challenging to say, let's separate it, because it's who I am. But the separation, I think, needs to come with the result, because when you lose and you go home, your kids need you to smile and be happy. And sometimes it's difficult. It is challenging. So I've continued to try to get better at that and educate myself that what happens on the field stays on the field, and come home and be ready to play. So that journey has been challenging. And then you're traveling a lot, right? So you miss birthdays, you miss Halloween, you miss Easter, and those are also challenging moments. But when you have a great partner and a family that understands, and you're trying to leave a legacy behind that they'll appreciate and want to be a part of, then certainly makes it easier to digest.
I like that. I like that a lot. And then we're kind of transitioning to like I call it the Insider's Lounge favorites. I like asking each guest these questions. It's almost a selfish thing for me because I like to hear kind of your approach to life and the way you look at things. So the first thing is, what was a major challenge that you had throughout your life? It doesn't even have to be during your coaching career or your playing career. That just changed the way you looked at things, and you can look back at it and you're like, if that didn't happen, I might not be where I am today.
Um, I think like every time, everywhere I was never the underdog story's always been my thing. I think when I started coaching, because I wasn't really wanting to coach, I didn't apply myself, but I had good leadership skills. My teams are never really favorites to win. When I took over Vaughan, we were like not seen as a high performance club. When I went to SC Toronto, the team had done really poorly. When I took over Seneca College, they hadn't made the Final Four for 9 previous years, or something close to that. So for me, really the underdog story. And even when I played, because I worked really hard, you kind of start to say, well, for once it'd be nice to be labeled as a favorite. But I think like having to earn wins makes you work harder. Having you to earn anything in life makes you more appreciative of the detail and the commitment you need to gain something. Don't just stand there and expect something to happen for you. Just get out there and earn. And I think it made you say, quit whining and feeling like a victim. Be strong and stand up and take what you need with the way you want to do it.
Right. And do you have advice for not only young players and professionals, but also for people looking to kind of get into the soccer industry and build a career, not necessarily the path that others have done it, where you play and then you coach. Maybe they're looking at different angles. Do you just have advice for young people that are wanting to get involved in the soccer
Yeah,
industry?
for sure. That you know what, generally with a lot of these kind of questions, you have several different ones you land on. But on this one, I can give you a clear one. Patience. If you're a player, you don't start the first 3 games of the season, as long as you trust your coach, but you should not be on that team if you don't trust your coach and the vision. Be patient. Sometimes greatest things take a long time to happen. Like I said, days seem long, but years are short. Alistair wanted everything, but he went to an NCAA school, transferred. When he transferred in his junior year at Wake Forest, he barely played, never stopped believing, became a captain, prominent member, new position, and really rose to the occasion. And here he is. So being patient and having clear vision is important as a coach. I know all young modern coaches today get their badges immediately. But don't forget, badges mean absolutely nothing if you don't have people skills. So take the time you need to be patient, to learn about the human aspect of coaching. And that's only through trials and errors. You're going to really need to do something bad and then be able to fix it in order to grow up. Coaches these days, they're demanding strong pay through the different avenues of OPDL and wanting a CPL opportunity or pro opportunity at the age of 30. I coached for a long time before my break came. And before that, I never complained. So, be grateful what you have, love what you do. Um, and I know I'm branching off to a whole bunch of things, and I said it's one, but really the focus is be patient. I didn't even apply for the Halifax Wanderers position. I felt like if I was doing good work, I'll be noticed, and they're the ones who came and asked me. if I wanted to apply for the position. So I think it's critical. Be patient, and if you love what you do, keep doing it, and good things will come.
Amazing. And some people are futuristic thinkers, and others kind of prefer to just think of the day to day. What can I do today that will make my future better? If we had to have this conversation in 5 to 10 years, where do you think your life would be career wise, and even outside of your career?
Yeah, I mean, in 10 years, our kids will be out of our homes, so I'll be sad because it's like right now you feel overwhelmed with coaching your kids, but that sad moment will come. So our kids will be out of our homes and starting their journey, and hopefully by then I've been able to, I've done a lot with my career at the next level, a CPL, to warrant a move to go one step higher. I would love to continue to challenge myself, but like I just said, I'm going to be patient. I'm not going to run around and jump up and down for people to notice me through my actions. I'm going to let the results and the way we play to bring attention to me. So, I'm hoping that where I've been able to progress a lot of players to the next level, like some of the guys you just named, will be able to do that at Halifax and progress a couple guys that will move on to MLS and the men's national team, and work towards the next challenge after this, hopefully.
That's great. And so yeah, we've just got some quick fire questions left.
Sure.
Who's your favorite club team growing up? Like, who did you support?
Barcelona.
Barcelona. All right.
Yeah, I was a
And what
huge
was the
fan.
what was the connection?
So I always loved the way they played. They were a club that always has been enigmatic because of their vision of being very Catalan and more than a club. And then when I went to Spain to try to play for 8, 9 months, I lived at Barcelona. So I really learned about the club and what it means. And, at the back of the shirts, it says more than a club, and it really is more than a club. But I think my infatuation with Barcelona was there, but it really grew to new heights when Pep came. And I really do actually believe his influence on Barcelona was a huge influence on me to say, you know what, I got to learn more about coaching. I got to get better because that's what I want. So it's always been Barcelona, always.
And then in terms of coaching, is Pep your kind of inspiration, the one you look
Yeah,
towards?
without a doubt. Pep was a guy that came from the second team. He was not a favorite to take over Barca. His first game they lost, and people were like, "Oh my God, this is shambolic." So the fact that he was an underdog without pro experience, had just done a B team, and he brought all those young kids up to play was fantastic. And what they did and how they played was out of this world. I think I really love watching the 2009 to 2012, 2011 Barca. I think in our history, there will be very few teams that can match that.
And then you mentioned a few different quotes and sayings as we've gone through the interview. Do you have one specific quote or saying that you live by?
Yeah, I would say the one that I lived by, and it really became so evident for me. And I'm going to try saying without looking at my phone because it should be here, but it's a longer one. Uh, Tough times create strong men. Strong men create easy times. Easy times create weak men, and weak men. Yeah, what's the last one? Yeah, and weak men create tough times. So it's that full circle of
Yeah.
life that we've talked about. For me, it's so important because we've been against it this season. One of the greatest things that we did this year, Chad, was we never lost 2 games in a row. So that's why I started really preaching that tough times create strong men. But unfortunately, the way humanity works is at the moment that tough time to survive, then all of us that have become the strongmen become the weak because we take our eye off the prize. So our challenge has been that, but it really is about the circle of life and what happens.
Great choice. So you've now spent a full season in Halifax. You're kind of back and forth between home and Halifax. Do you have any top recommendations for Halifax, like your favorite food spot or somewhere you like to go while you're there?
Yeah, I mean, there's a very famous restaurant here that everybody goes to called the Bicycle Thief. It's fantastic. There's a smaller restaurant that's my go-to because I like the food here, called Turkish Delight. That
Hmm.
is like very Mediterranean doner, amazing. Um, And when you're at Halifax, you got to go to a Wanderers game. It's crazy, and I think the experience is really a day experience. Start the day at the pint, have a beer, do the walk to the game, get there early, enjoy the happy hour, watch the game, and after the game, lead it going to Argyle Street, go to a restaurant and have something to eat. I think that entire strip is quite good, but those are my two restaurants that I really enjoyed going to.
All right, so if I'm ever in Halifax, then I know the
For
bicycle feast.
sure.
That's where I gotta go. Do you have a favorite hobby outside of soccer? Something to just break your mind off and kind of do something else for a short period of time?
I mean, when you're at the stage you are that you spend so many hours with football, it's difficult to say anything other than my kids. I
Mhm.
love spending time with my kids, and I love watching my son play. But he plays, of course, soccer. But
Yeah,
also being around my daughter and reading books with her, just being around the family is a big one. And then for my own personal thing, I really love watching movies. I know movies is a thing that's phased out because everybody has TV shows, but
yeah.
I'm a huge movie buff, and I watch movies to are sometimes, depending on the mood, a suspense or a comedy to take your mind away from a, a tough day. So I would say those are it. And, I really enjoy watching basketball. Sometimes I enjoy watching NBA more than soccer after you've had a 16-hour day of football.
I don't blame you. I don't blame you at all. If you could sit down with one person for a meal, dead or alive, who would it be?
I would have normally said, I mean, this is really difficult, right? Because you want to say Pep, you want to say Messi because I love Messi. And you want to say, Ronaldo with all the things. But I would actually say in my last 5 years, 10 years, reading books, inspirations, seeing things, the one that really comes to my mind that was remarkable is, God bless his soul, Kobe Bryant. So I would say I would have loved to have talked to Kobe. I mean, when you read his book, The Mamba Mentality, and you read all these things, he says a quote that his high school teacher said that I love is rest at the end, not in the middle. I also really love that. That's my second one. And in our preseason, it's one that I showed on the screen. So I love this mentality and his intensity. It's fantastic, man. I loved Kobe.
Yeah, we have had a few mention Kobe. I don't blame him. Mentality over everything is insane.
Yeah.
All right, well that's all I've got for you. I appreciate
But
you coming on, and I look forward to getting to know you over the years, and we'll
for
see where
sure.
things lead.
Thanks, Chad. Much appreciated.
All right, have a good one.